So recently I've been doing Bikram Yoga. I've only done it 3 times and it's pretty crazy. It's like you're doing yoga in a sauna room. It's super duper hot and you're literally sweating, you're drenched by the end of the session and there's very little oxygen. So when I did it for the first 2 times, literally after 20 minutes, I'd get really lightheaded, really dizzy, and I'd just be on the floor. Like I'd be on the floor and I wouldn't be able to stand up. Every time I would stand up, I would get really dizzy. That was the first 2 times. Recently, I've done it 1 more time, the 3rd and most recent time, and I was able to last through the whole session. I was telling the person at the counter about my last 2 attempts and how I really want to get through a whole 1.5 hour session without having to lie on the floor trying to recover and being able to follow along with every exercise. And the advice he gave me was like, you just want to go really slow and take a lot of breaths. Breathe. I had to force myself to slow down. And it was pretty crazy because I could see my mind wanting to keep up with the group. Because since I was going really slow, like everyone would put their arms up into position and I'm here just going like this. Slowly. And it's hard because you're seeing everyone sort of go at a much faster pace and the instructor telling people what to do and everyone's doing it quickly and I'm doing it really sort of slowly. But I knew that if I did it really quick, that I'd get really exhausted. I would start using a lot of oxygen and there's not much oxygen in the room and I'll start getting dizzy. So I forced myself to do things really slowly. And I didn't care about me being behind and always trailing behind the class. So that was the first thing I learned. The second thing I learned was that since I was doing things slowly, when I would finish that exercise and the teacher was like, okay, get on the floor and rest, I would slowly put my hands down, slowly sit down and slowly lie down. And all of a sudden, I've lost a bunch of time. Like rather than getting the 30-second rest, I would only get maybe 15 seconds rest. So I was getting half the amount of rest that everyone else was getting. Let me quickly turn on this light. Beautiful. But strangely, despite getting less rest, I was able to, I had friends and people in the class that been doing it for months, years, and they had to sit down, lie down, rest, and just take a breather because they were getting dizzy. So even though I was getting less rest, I was able to go through the whole session without lying down once. Since I was doing things slowly, I would be holding, by the time I'd get into the position that I needed to hold, I would have to only hold it for a shorter period of time. So I'm not there yet. But I was really impressed that by the 3rd freaking session ever, I was able to smash the whole session. Now, how did that go ahead and apply to my real life? Recently went to the snow, learned how to ski for the very first time, and I was starting to get the hang of it. Drove back home, 5-hour trip, had to unpack all my bags, and this is the first time I've literally unpacked the same day of coming home. Usually I procrastinate, I rest, I get on my phone because it's been a long trip, and I'll end up taking the next day to unpack. But I unpacked everything. And how that's been happening is because I've been consciously focused on my breathing, slowing things down, not trying to rush and unpack things as quick as possible, do it in a slow fashion, and focus on slow. The third thing I learned from Bikram Yoga was that I had to constantly not only slow down all my muscles, my body movement, my sort of strain and tensing of muscles and shoulders, I had to take deep breaths to slow down the mind. That was something I was struggling with. I realized, I was like, wow, the brain is like a muscle. And when you're constantly thinking about the next action, like for example, it happened just then. Rather than being focused on filming this video, I saw this Canon battery finish getting charged down sort of green. And I'm like, man, to be optimal, I wanted to quickly take it out and put in the next battery, which is empty, and start charging that so that I wouldn't waste time in between. And all of a sudden, my brain got split from filming this video and thinking of the topic at hand and seeing that green light. So that's something I still need to work on. But taking that from Bikram Yoga, because like when I'm doing these stances in my mind, I'm like, oh my god, everyone's going so fast, I'm behind, how much time is there left, I can't believe I made it this far, and this is the first time I've made it this far without having to stop. How much longer do I have? Oh my god, that person rested and that person is pro and I'm still going. Like my mind is constantly racing and I'm having to take deep breaths and just slow down the brain. And that's probably the biggest thing I've been able to implement into my day-to-day. It's been so impactful and so helpful, and I feel like I have more energy. Also, I've improved my sleep, but that's another topic. But yeah, my brain literally just split. I went down a whole tangent and I was not focused. So I do need to get better at focusing and really being present. Another thing I realized, the reason why I don't get present is I start thinking way too fast. So I start thinking about the next topic and the next thing I want to talk about, and all of a sudden I'm no longer present on what I'm currently talking about, and my brain gets chopped up and I get not focused. So that's another important thing. So let's sort of do a recap. The things I learned from Bikram Yoga is learning to take deep breaths, learning to slow down and do things slowly. And the third thing is learn to slow the brain down. And all of a sudden I have more energy, I'm procrastinating less, I'm taking deep breaths every time I procrastinate, and I'm getting off my phone. I'm being able to do more things. I'm able to make more clearer decisions, such as, hey, my brain is getting too clustered with all these different to-do things and these things I need to complete. Let's write it all down on the whiteboard and get it done one by one. So yeah, hopefully this video helps. My name's Adam, I'm the founder of Studying.com. I just want to document my journey, and hopefully you guys are taking lessons from these videos that can go ahead and help you improve your life and your business. Hope you guys have an amazing day. Peace.